Hello and welcome back to the podcast, the No Excuses podcast. My name's Anne and I live in Worcestershire with my husband Tom and our dog Bertie, who as always is lying behind me. And this is episode 54. I got it wrong last time. Apologies. As always, I don't know whether I'm in the screen, but I'm going to record and take a chance. It is about 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, the 26th of February. And I've got a slice of cake. Not I should be eating cake particularly, but we had some bananas that were looking a bit black on the outside of the skins, and I don't like bananas when they're quite ripe. I like them almost when they've just gone past the green stage, you know. And I have to be in the mood to eat a banana, so Tom made a banana cake instead, and he just chucks everything in there basically. This has got oats. It's got oats, mixed fruit, bananas. It's got brown sugar on the top. It got some ground almonds and flaked almonds in as well. So all in all, quite a nice mixture, and a little bit of mixed spice. So yeah, it's very nice. And at some point, I will stop slurping my coffee and eat it. But don't worry, I'm not going to eat it on camera because I'm very good at dropping crumbs down me, and you don't want to see that. Got very lukewarm coffee there. So how have you been in the last 2 weeks? I've been alright-ish. Yeah, I've got a weird pain in my hip that won't go away. Somebody said it could be sciatica. Maybe it is, I don't know. But yeah, I'm just waiting to see. But apart from that, I've been going out and doing the usual things. So we'll get on with what I've been up to. First of all, as usual, I want to mention the make-alongs. The jump-along will finish at the end of March, so we've got another couple of podcasts after this one, because I'm trying to do it every 2 weeks for you to get your entries in. I've had a few entries, so I'm trying to keep on top of the entries. I'm not answering or putting comments on every single one of the entries like I was doing on Ravelry and places, because it can get a bit confusing for me when I'm trying to record them. However, say that ends at the end of March, just so we're all not confused already. That is any adult size garment. It can be with or without sleeves, but if it's without sleeves, it needs to be something that you wear on the outside of your shirt or t-shirt or top. And then the Smash the Stash will carry on for most of the year, and that is anything that is made from more than 50%. More than 50% of the item needs to be from stash. And stash I'm counting as being something you've had for 6 months or more. Some of us have had things for years, haven't we? And unlike a lot of other giveaways, I want to announce the giveaway winners from the last podcast, which was I did it just before Valentine's Day, and if you put the word Valentine or Valentines, the YouTube comment picker picked it up, and you entered into a bag as a giveaway. Not yarn as well, just bag to keep the postage cost down, and it's just a little bit of fun. But it was also to celebrate my 2-year podiversary. Now, because I keep buying fabric, and it's nice fabric, I tend to go for Lewis and Irene stuff, so it's nice quilting cotton. Well, I think it's nice. You might not like it, but I think it's nice. I need to really start using some of it up. I'm always saying this, running out of space, So I've drawn 3 people to have a little bag. I've not started making the bags, but I will make them this week and get them into the post. Now, I know 2 of you live in the UK. I'm not sure about the 3rd, so I'll put your names on the screen as well. But the first is Glenda Bathgate. Hello, Glenda. Glenda's a long-term watcher, I know that, and a commenter. So, Glenda, I don't think I've got your address, so if you can let me have that either by email or private message on Ravelry or Instagram, then that would be great. my email, all my contact details are down below. The second one I drew was Eileen McCraig. Now Eileen, I don't know where you live, so are you in the UK or are you abroad? That's fine. If you are across some water somewhere, then I will certainly make your bag and get that out to you as soon as possible. And then third is Cathie Filer. And Cathie, I've got your address because you bought a bag from me before. Now if you don't want another bag, then just say, but otherwise a bag will be wending its way onto you. And I'm thinking I'm going to make sock bags this time, something nice and simple that you can probably reverse if you want to, and make it reversible more or less. So yeah, we'll see what comes out. It depends on my mood on the day. So yes, if those three ladies would like to get in touch, then I would be grateful and can get the. I think now I've done the draw, I always work under pressure better. I'll get on and do the sewing bit. Right, well, what am I wearing? I am wearing, of course, you know what I'm wearing, you long-term viewers. I'm wearing my Swamp Monster cardigan. Hurrah! But it's a jacket, really. It's quite big. And I was wearing it the other day when Mum came to see me, and she said, I could knit it up. I said, well, I could knit it up in a smaller size. But to take all this down and to do it again, and you know that this has already had, I knitted it up as a V-neck slip over first. And I wasn't wearing it, I'd worn it once. So I bought a little bit more of the yarn and turned it into the cardigan. So I'm a bit reluctant because I'm quite happy wearing it. It's comfortable. It's got a little bit too much fabric around the top of the arms and things. But that is a common problem with me. I've got short, wide arms, and I'm short in stature, and I've got big boobies, and it often means that things, I have no shoulders, which is the key thing here. So unless I start putting shoulder pads in everything, which I don't really want to do, then I usually end up with an excess of fabric because of the size I end up knitting to go around me. Anyway, it is a pattern that I've done myself, as in I've just put some slip stitches down the front next to the front band, and I've put pockets on it with the same slip stitch pattern on it, and that pattern is down the back as well, down the centre of the back. Don't know why, I'm sat in a chair all the time, but I just wanted to add it. And I find, as I've said many times before, it's got a pattern in it, I will knit it up much faster than if it's just plain stocking stitch or knit stitch if it's in the round. This is taken from a Peyton's book that's now discontinued, and I've got an Aran one as well, and I'm sure there's something similar substitute, but it's just a classic raglan really. And my buttons are, I think they're air dried clay, and I can't remember where I got them from, so somewhere on Etsy, but they're very lightweight, but they do clang a bit if I catch it on something. They do make quite a bit of noise. So that's what I'm wearing, my Swamp Monster cardigan, and the yarn is by Needle and Thread. Now Libby is having a break from dyeing at the moment, so she wants to decide what she wants to do going forward, but she did put on Instagram the other day that she'd signed up for the Perth Festival of Yarn, so I'm hoping that she'll come back to dyeing at some point because I do like her colours. And the other one that I knitted out of hers is Tom's big cardigan that I made him with the shawl collar last year. That's huge as well, and I think it's the nature of superwash wool, and if you've got bigger sizes the item's heavier and it will stretch more. So there you go. I've also got earrings in for a change, but I don't know whether you can see them. I'm not very good at holding. Let me find something to, I'm not going to stab myself. I've got some little earrings here. I'll put a photograph of them up. These are they're silver. I think they've got a little bit of gold. I'm not sure whether they're hearts at the bottom of gold. I can't even see my own face. They're Linda MacDonald, who is a Scottish designer. I really like her stuff. Don't always wear earrings these days, especially in the winter. If I've got a shawl on, I don't wear earrings because they catch, and I can't always reach to unfree them, and I don't want to put holes in my shawl, or indeed lose the earrings because they're not cheap. But yeah, I've got a few pairs. And then what I meant to show you last time is my mother has given me an iolite ring. She's finding a lot of her rings don't fit her anymore because she's got arthritis in her fingers and that. And iolite is a lovely blue, probably you can't see it properly on here. It's a lovely blue colour. I like semi-precious stones. I couldn't wear that colour in clothing. It's too cool a colour for me, interestingly. I could wear something that had a warmer colour with the blue in, but I couldn't wear anything like that myself. It wouldn't suit my complexion. So, yeah, I think that's the admin out of the way. So, what have we been making? Let's get on to the knitting. This is, and it should be in a hot water bottle, but it'll be a bit big then. This is my hot water bottle cover, and it's made from the same minis that I made my Advent Envy out of, from Emma of Yarnworthy. And all I've done is I did a chain that would go round generously around the bottom. I've done a pattern of they're not really half trebles, they're one loop below half trebles and doubles. That's in English crochet. And then I've put a gap at the top to get the neck of the hot water bottle in. I just crocheted that together. I've put a little handle on it so I can grab it when it's on my legs. And then at the bottom, I know you can't see it very well because it's dark, I've just done a few rows of trebles there with a loop at the end, 2 loops, so that I can fold that over. I found Mum gave me some buttons the other week because she's got thousands of them. Not for this, she gave me some buttons because I needed it for something else. And I tend to just, you know, she got it out. She said, I don't think I'll use that. I'll bring it home with me. So yes, it closes up so the pokes out the top, and there's just about 100 grams in there, and it took me a few nights to make. I saved most of the purple, some got a bit of purple in, but I used some of the greens and mainly the blues out of what was left over from me Advent Envy. So I've got some of the mustards and the purples and the other colours left to do something else with if I want to. So yeah, pleased with that. I've used it a couple of times. And then I'll put that down, excuse me. And then progress, I haven't made really any progress on my comfort zone, which is that lovely pattern from Espace Tricot. So I will show you that next time because I keep falling asleep at night. But the thing I've been obsessed with is my blanket, and I'm just going to show it you briefly here. I will put some photographs in. We've just taken some pictures. Well, Tom had. I've taken some pictures of Tom holding it up in the living room. So this is my mitered square blanket. It's a 40 stitch square on 5mm needles, and it's 2 strands of 4-ply mini Advent minis mainly held together. I am talking a little bit fast because I'm aware that my battery might run out and I don't have a spare, and it takes ages to charge it. And on the photographs I show that I've tried to rectify my earlier fault of getting the centre line all going the same way or going like that. And I've got a sort of a pattern that I've done. I laid it out in the end, and this is going to be 8 by 12 when it's finished. And I've got another row of 8 to do, and then I'm going to do a border. I'm going to look and see if I've got some single skeins that I don't mind adding in, but they need to be pastel, so I'll see. I don't mind a few I don't mind a few ends to sew in, but because I'm using my Advent Minis, I'm already getting low on some of the colours, and despite the fact that when you look at it you think some of them are the same wool's been used twice, I don't think they are. They're very, very similar, some of these little minis, which is nice in a way, and it's nice that I've made some of them a bit darker than others. You couldn't really class them as pastel, but I'm happy, you know, it's a blanket at the end of the day, and I don't mind. I've got a very, very yellow one somewhere I was going to show you. See, that's quite a strong colour, and that's probably as strong as I get, that mustardy colour. And then, you know, some of them are darker, and also I've got some that look very, very close to one another. I've tried most of the time to change the colours up, but the ones I've just done are very similar to one another as well. I've just done this corner here, just done these two today, and you know, they're not dissimilar to, in fact, that one, the last one I've done, is very similar to another one just down from it on the same row, but when you put them together they are different. But I don't know why I'm talking about it like this, because it sort of bothers me in my head, but at the same time I keep saying it's a blanket. I think it's going to be big enough for me then. Tom said, oh, why don't you make it big enough to go on the bed? But we've already got my crocheted one on the bed, which is like cotton and acrylic, and I've done that in the same colours of our curtains. But I don't really want this on the bed. I want this to be on me at night because it's heavy. I quite like it. Anyway, get rid of that before it swamps me. As you can see, it's sort of swamping me now. But I'm really enjoying that. And bearing in mind that you'd normally say a blanket was a long-term project, I seem to have whizzed by on it. Just another square. I time myself with the squares and it takes me about 40 minutes each one, and I am sewing in the ends after each square. I sew the ends in with, I've got a fairly sharp needle with a largish eye on it, and I use that, so I'm pleased about that. I've not done any work using the I-cord mill that I showed you last time, you know, the one from Prim that you wind and you do French knitting on, or corking, or whatever you want to call it. But we do have a little bit of incoming, so I'm going to pause it there. See you in a minute. Well, when I finish the blanket, which isn't going to be too long, and if I crack on with the comfort zone, that won't be too long, I'm going to pick up my Arco Iris, which is the V-neck jumper by Okie Locatelli. And I think I said last time that I'm a bit nervous about that lovely silky yarn, which I'm not going to get out because it's under a pile of stuff, being susceptible to wear, I mean me. So I had a look at various sites about getting some lace weight. I had a chat to Penny about it as well, and I was looking at the lovely colours of Knitting for Olive, but of course you can't see what they're like, you can only look on a monitor. So in the end I opted for 3 colours of kids, Drops Kid Silk, and I think, let me just check the colours for you. No, I've not got them in here. That is Cherry Sorbet, I think, and I do think that might go with one of the colours I've got. That, it might be powder, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's number 41, and that's number 46. I'll put the colours on the screen when I've looked them up, because I've forgotten to write them down. And this is Heather, and I thought the Heather would go with the Witch Elm, but it's far too strong a purple, because the Witch Elm, when you look at it and it looks purpley, but when you put that against it, it looks grey. So I don't really want it to be that purple. And also I've got a boxy a v-neck boxy that I knitted with beautiful, beautiful, mainly biff sugar yarn singles, which I put kid silk onto, and I used the heather. So I don't really want another jumper that looks too similar, if you know what I mean, because they're both v-neck jumpers at the end of the day. So I'm not going to be using these on a thingy, and that's quite a strong colour. But I'd only ordered 2 of each, so it wasn't too expensive. And it was more than half the price of a Knitting for Olive or another, branded make, and certainly not as much money as spending on an indie-dyed one either, because it's always a risk if you're trying to match a colour. So I didn't really want to spend too much money on it. And the kid silk is perfectly adequate, even knowing that I'm mixing it with quite an expensive yarn. But it's lovely and soft. And it only doesn't feel that soft when you put it next to something like Rowan's kid silk haze. And then you realise that's, to me anyway, that feels on a different level. So, bought those. Can't use them just at the moment. That's knitting for you. But while I was on the Wool Warehouse site, as you do, you always want to get, you always have to get free delivery. And I don't know why, I'd fancied having a go at Tunisian crochet for a while. And I was looking at the clover hooks on Wool Warehouse, and then I saw that they did some symphony ones. Now I've got a symphony knitting needles, and I think, it didn't say they weren't, these will join. So these are symphony crochet hooks, because I could have bought a 30cm crochet hook, which is like about a foot long, isn't it? But I want to do a blanket, if I do it, with either Tunisian crochet or using the I-cord length or something like that. So I bought the 8, the 6 and the 5mm to have a go, because it looks like you'd normally use a bigger hook than you would if you were doing standard crochet. But I've looked at a couple of videos and it looks fairly easy to do in terms of the actions. I just need to learn what to do for the pattern that I want to choose, but we're a long way off. But those are my 3 symphony crochet hooks from Wool Warehouse, and I can attach them to cables, so that's all good. I'm quite pleased with that, but I'm not allowing myself to cast on anything or start using it. I might get the acrylic out and have a practice, because that'll be another rabbit hole I go down, and I won't want to come out of the rabbit hole. But really I want to finish my blanket first, and my comfort zone, while it's still cool enough to wear it. So yeah, got those, and then went to Hobbycraft, went to Webbs with Mum, and went to Hobbycraft, and I bought 3 lots of fat quarters from there. So these are, I won't get them out, but these are Peter Rabbit themed. So you get 4 fat quarters. They're not particularly wide fabric, so they're not particularly that generous. You get a little green one with that one. That one's quite nice as well. And then another colourway, so that's got the toadstools. So that and that are the same pattern, and then in there's like a flower, and then another. Oh, that looks like it's the same as the one on the outside. You've got a little bunny there. So I think they're 3 for £21. They used to be 18. Everything's gone up in price. And then the third one I bought was the Christmas one, because I can make Christmas bags with them then. And this has got red, some writing on there. What's it say? The most wonderful time of the year. Not for everybody, I think. It's but they're nice pictures. They are nice pictures with the sleigh. So I just got to remember I got these, because I put them away and never find them again. And that's the disadvantage about being disorganised. But after that, interestingly, or just before that, I think, was it after that, Mum gave me these from, so it's probably, it's reflecting off the camera, so goodness knows what colour it looks. She gave me this red, which is a tablecloth she made for Christmas one year, and this length of blue as well, and they will go nicely with the various colours that are in the Peter Rabbit. So that'll be good for either the bottom, because I like to make 2 colour bags usually, or the lining. So I'm really pleased with that. I think they're cotton or polycotton, aren't they? Knowing my mum, they're probably cotton. So that's something else to be getting on with one day. If you are one of the ladies who have won the giveaway and you'd particularly like a Peter Rabbit bag, then please let me know and I will make one out of those for you. And then Mum said to me, would you like this? And it's a bit of patchwork. So it's finished, you know, it's all sewn in nicely. It's all it's not backed yet. Now I recognise some of these patterns from years ago, and I don't know whether, did you have some fat quarter packs, Mum, or did you get them from various places? But some of them seem very familiar to me. So mainly greens on here, and I'm going to use that. It can be either bags, I can cut it up and make it into bags, or I want to make a lap quilt as well as the big blanket I'm doing. I'd like to make a lap quilt to either sit on, or so I've got like a warm layer underneath me, or a little bag that just slips over my feet when I go out, so that I can get out of easy. So yeah, that is a distinct possibility. And because I recognise some of these, it's like on the edge of my memory about where they came from. Hopefully Mum might be able to enlighten me. So that's my incoming. So no wool apart from the kid silk, which obviously counts, it does count. And then I stupidly ordered some, having resisted the knitting for Olive, and those colours are absolutely, some of them are absolutely right up my alley. The ochres and the mustards and the greens, and anyway, steer clear, Anne. But then Emma from Yarnworthy announced her spring fade and her advent, and then a Twixtmas box as well, based on Cluedo, and I went for the spring fade, and I said I wouldn't buy wool this year. But I've resisted the advent because I don't want an advent this year. I think I'm going to see what's happening nearer the time with me as to how much wool I've actually got through by the end of the, about October, November, because my birthday's November anyway. I could have like a sweater quantity of something, instead. We'll see. So yeah. So I haven't been talking for very long. I've yattered on, but now I'm going to end up by talking about where I've been. So I met Mum at Webb's and I bought Peter Rabbit stuff, and then I had my blood test a week ago, about 10 days ago now, and we've got a great phlebotomist at our surgery. She has to take it out of my foot because they can't get it out of the back of my hand, basically, or my arms. So she said, would you mind if the trainee does it? And I went, no. And she had a go, but she couldn't get it. She said, I can feel it. But, and then Caroline did it herself. But usually in the other foot then, usually I've ended up with quite a big bruise, which is really unusually for Caroline. But she was having to bend down to my feet. I can't lift my feet up, so I'm trying to think of a way of lifting my feet up next time. But I kept getting these texts from the surgery saying you're pre-diabetic. Come to the diabetic clinic on Saturday. was like, I'm not pre-diabetic. Nobody's told me I'm pre-diabetic. They said, you know, a bit of my cholesterol was up last year. Anyway, I went to get my results this Friday just gone, and she went, I don't know why they're saying that to you. She said, your bloods are fine. Everything is fine, you know. My blood pressure was a little bit higher than it has been in the last few years, but I'm on different tablets because they keep stopped making my tablets. When I said to her, I'm on different tablet because they keep stopped making mine, I know which one, you know, she told me which ones I was on, and I don't think she'd looked at me records at that point. She went, yeah, anyway, yeah, they're well known for it. So all is good. So I immediately wanted to eat a cream cake. Tom went to Morrison's but forgot the cake because it wasn't on the list. Anyway, never mind, eh? So we've had blood tests and we've had the results and it's good. Then last Monday I went to the Neville Arms, which is just outside Redditch. It's on the Saltway that runs from Droitwich to Ulster or Alcester in Warwickshire. Now it's just, well, I think it's part of a Roman road, and because Droitwich used to supply a lot of salt, the Saltway, and it's a pub that's a free house, so they make all their food is made by them. They don't have any, I mean, they probably have a few things bought in, but it's all freshly cooked and everything, and proper vegetables and all. It's really very nice food. And I decided to have a cheeseburger. Of course, I didn't finish it, but it was very nice. And the chips were absolutely lovely. They were like old-fashioned home-cooked chips. You know, they were like properly cut from a potato, not something you'd get in a packet of frozen veg. And they do have different styles of chips depending what you've chosen off the menu, interestingly. So if you have the fish and chips, you get a different sort of chip. I think they're frozen. Anyway, I can't fault their food. It's very, very good, and generous portions as well. And I said to the girl, there was about a third of my burger left, and I said to her, can you check to see it's got any onion in? Because I'll take it home to my dog. And she came back and said, sorry, yeah, there was onion in it. So we didn't risk it. I didn't risk bringing it home. Wendy had their curry, and you get like a salad basket, a poppadom basket with a salad in, and your rice and your naan and your curry itself. And Amanda had sea bass, and that was really nice with like roasted potatoes and veg. She absolutely cleared her plate, apart from a little bit of fish skin left. And then for pudding, Wendy had the sundae. I had almond Bakewell cheesecake, and I wasn't that impressed with that because it was a bit stodgy. And for some reason, they gave me, I can't remember seeing it on the menu, like a ramekin full of Mr. Whippy ice cream. And I ate some of it, and I'm not mad on ice cream. I have to be in the mood, and I certainly don't cope well with ice cream when I'm full. So I should have, Wendy finished the ice cream for me, I should have just given it to her in the first place. And Amanda had their homemade apple and cinnamon crumble. That looked enormous, but it looked delicious because, you know, homemade puddings are lovely. With custard, she had that. So yeah, so I wouldn't have the Bakewell. I usually love anything Bakewell, but it's just a bit heavy, I think, because I was already full. Eyes are bigger than your belly. But that was nice. It's a nice atmosphere. Sat there. We met at 5 a bit earlier this time, and we parted company about 8 o'clock. Just gone 8 o'clock. Still dark when I drove home, but not for much longer, hopefully. Then on the following morning, I went to Maryhill with, picked my friend Elaine up, and we went to Maryhill and we met Maxine. And Maxine has done a beautiful picture of Bertie, which I will put photographs up of now. She has left teaching to pursue her career in doing artwork for people, particularly portraits. And I'd seen that she was doing some really nice doggy portraits, time-lapse, and I think I've shared a couple on my Instagram. I'm more than pleased. And she said, do you want colour or do you want black and white. I mean, the colour are more expensive, but I decided on black and white because I've got hundreds of pictures of Bertie in colour. So I'm pleased it's on the wall, and Tom thinks it's nice as well. So I will leave her details below if anybody's interested in. She's certainly looking for commissions. And she's obviously talented. She's got her own website. So I'll put those below. And she's also done me a logo, which you will have seen at the beginning of the programme. It's not that professional, is it? You can call it a programme. I will put, I'm going to get some zip pulls with spar knits on, rather than handmade. And then I'm going to get some a rubber stamp with spar knits on as well. And I wanted to incorporate the sort of wheelchair and the knitting with the name. And it's a very simple, clean design. And I'm very pleased with it. So, there you go. And that's it, really. So, if you want to get in touch with me if you've won the giveaway, and I will make sure that my battery's absolutely fully charged before I speak to you again, because this is going to be just a little bit shorter than half an hour this time. And I've got a couple of new subscribers, so welcome. I hope you'll stay with me for my yattering. But that's it, I think. You know where I am if you want to get in touch, and you certainly do. You're lovely. I will speak to you in about a fortnight. You take care. Bye.